Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Real Time, where we talk about the movies we like.
And the ones that we do not like.
I'm Tyler,
And I'm Molly.
and this time we're going to be talking about all three Willy Wonka movies:
Yep, all three.
the original, the remake, and just the prequel.
Yeah, I guess you could. Yeah, it's a prequel.
Kinda, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
We're going to start with the 1971 original, starring Gene Wilder.
It's a classic. I mean, come on, it's a classic movie.
So, like we said, this movie stars Gene Wilder as the titular Willy Wonka. And fun fact, the original name of the story was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That being the book written by Roald Dahl, of course.
Of course, I have read the book. I am familiar.
And they changed it to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory because the Vietnam War was going on at the time, and American troops were referred to as Viet Cong as Charlies.
Oh, I didn't know that. I always wondered why they did that.
Yeah, so they wanted to change it.
Very interesting.
The main character of this movie is, of course, Charlie Bucket, the poor little kid who gets a lucky chance at a golden ticket. He's, of course, played by Peter Ostrom, who this was the one and only movie that Ostrom ever did.
Oh, yeah. Guess it wasn't for him, huh?
No. He has one acting credit, Willy Wonka.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say it just wasn't the life for him, it seems.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he said. It just wasn't for him. He had a chance to grow his career, but he just didn't want to. Which, judging from the results of other child stars and how they were abused by not just the studios but their parents, this is probably for the best.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Today, he works as a veterinarian and still gets his dollar royalty checks from this movie.
Oh, very nice.
Jack Albertson plays his Grandpa Joe.
Yeah.
And we don't like Grandpa Joe in this house.
No. Yeah, I do not like Grandpa Joe.
He's a lazy turd. He's always trying to get Charlie to do bad things and make bad decisions, like try to sell the gobstopper to Slugworth, and he's the one who was responsible for having Charlie drink the fizzy lifting soda that made them almost, get chopped up by the ceiling fan.
Yeah. All Grandpa Joe's fault. That was not in the book, was it?
No, it wasn't. The fizzy lifting soda was in the book, but no one drank it.
Yeah. Charlie, he's too good. He would have never, if Grandpa Joe wasn't there, he would have never drank the soda.
Well, I guess he kind of had to take Grandpa Joe, given that his mom was the only one working, given Grandpa Joe was a kind of a lazy sack of crap.
Yeah, they were poor, and they didn't know they were about to, have their lives made. So she had to go to work.
Also, in this version, Charlie's dad is dead. He wasn't in the book or in the Tim Burton remake, but he's dead here.
Yeah, for some reason.
I don't know. Julie Dawn Cole plays Veruca Salt, the spoiled little turd who wins a golden ticket. I don't like her. I'd say I dislike her more than I dislike Grandpa Joe, because with Grandpa Joe, it's kind of a meme to say you hate this guy, even though I don't really care for him. But I absolutely hate Veruca, which means her actress did a wonderful job.
Yeah, you're definitely meant to hate this girl with all of your heart. She is not a nice person. A spoiled brat, very annoying.
I was glad when she fell down the chute. She got what she deserved, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, me too.
Roy Kinnear plays her father, Mr. Salt. I feel bad for this guy, but it's also kind of his own fault that his daughter's the way she is.
Yeah. You gotta raise your kids to not be spoiled brats.
Denise Nickerson plays Violet Beauregard, and her father is played by Leonard Stone. Now, Violet Beauregard is the gum chewer. She's been chewing this piece of gum for 3 months, which I guess gum was made out of sterner stuff back in the 70s because gum today lasts maybe 3 hours, not 3 months.
Yeah. And it gets all, it starts developing a weird texture after a while.
But then again, there's also the other explanation of it. It's just a movie. Just go with it.
It is a movie.
Paris Themin plays Mike TV, the TV couch potato of the group, and his mom is played by Nora Denny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always thought the kid who played Mike TV had an annoying voice in this movie.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, I was like, man, I don't like that kid's voice.
Augustus Gloop, the big fat fatty. That's basically all of his character traits in this movie and in the book. Mm-hmm. Is played by Michael Bollner, and his mother is played by Ursula Wright.
Yeah. We established while we were watching that I would definitely be the Augustus Gloop of the group, because I would definitely want to drink the chocolate straight from the river and fall in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now I don't necessarily have to sum up the plot of this movie, but I'm going to, because I'm assuming that everyone knows what this movie's about.
You would think, but you never know.
Eccentric chocolate maker Willy Wonka announces that he has hidden 5 golden tickets in the wrappers of 5 of his Wonka bars, and the people who find them are the ones who get to go on a tour of his factory.
Mm-hmm. So everyone goes completely crazy.
Yeah, they go a bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, if you would.
Oh yeah, everyone wants to tour the chocolate factory. Everyone wants to win the prize of chocolate.
It gets to the point where the president of the U.S. and the Queen of England are also on the hunt for these things.
Yeah, and you see some pretty funny scenes while this is going on.
At one point, this woman's husband is kidnapped, and the kidnappers want, in exchange for her husband's life, her case of Wonka bars, and she has to think about it.
Yeah, that one's my favorite. The police is like, hey, he's only asking for your chocolate, and she's like, I'm gonna have to think about that.
Yeah, this movie does dark comedy surprisingly well, and looking back.
Yeah, especially for a kids movie, but it is pretty funny. There's a lot of funny parts.
Yeah, there are. A lot of the comedy, of course, comes from Gene Wilder. He was just absolutely incredible in this role.
Yeah, he really does a good job with the zany Willy Wonka character. He's crazy, and he's always saying cryptic things. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. Also, rewatching this movie, I'm kind of reminded by how much of my own sense of humor I've taken from Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty funny. He's a funny guy.
So this is clearly neither of our first viewings of this movie. Now, I watched this movie a lot growing up as a kid. I'd like to say that I know when the first time I ever watched it was, but that'd be a lie. But I would definitely see that it was when I was very young, maybe before I even started school.
I don't remember. I don't think I was that young though. But yeah, I could not tell you when I started watching it.
And it's just one of those movies that you watch over and over again as a kid that it just becomes ingrained to you, to where when I was watching it now, I was just saying most of the lines in my head, okay, aside from the ones that I would actually do.
Mm-hmm. I have a pretty good feeling you've watched this more than me, because it was not like one of my go-to movies as a kid. But I liked it. I enjoy it, obviously.
Yeah, this definitely was for me. Whenever it came on TV, I just had to watch it, no matter how much was left. Just gotta finish this.
Yep, I've seen it on TV a lot. I guess that was why I don't think we had it on DVD. We just had it whenever it came on TV, So that was, not very frequently.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like this is one of the best Roald Dahl adaptations. There hasn't been very many. Let me just look that up real quick. Now, as far as adaptations go, this isn't too faithful to the book. Like, it's faithful enough. It gets the bare bones of the story, but I feel like it does. It's one of the best adaptations there is, though, because it takes what works in the medium of film and enhances those aspects while leaving the stuff that would have worked better in the book behind.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll talk about this more with the next movie, but the remake was closer to the book.
Yes, it was. That's one of the few things I can give that movie over this one.
But yeah, like this Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is fun to watch. It does everything well. It keeps you entertained.
All right. So, like I said, there's been some adaptations of Roald Dahl's work. There's both versions of the BFG, the 1989 version, and the one directed by Steven Spielberg in 2016. I haven't seen either of those, but I also didn't read the book.
I've read the book, but that is it.
There's of course, the Tim Burton version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Fantastic Mr. Fox, which I haven't read the book of that, but that does come close to one of my favorite Roald Dahl adaptations.
I've read the book, but it was a long, long time ago. But I do really, really enjoy the movie.
Yeah, me too. Either that or Willy Wonka might be my favorite Roald Dahl adaptation. There's both versions of Matilda.
Yeah, I guess I've only seen. I just thought there was one. So.
Well, there's another one that came out just a couple of years ago. It was there was a musical one that was released on Netflix.
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
There's James and the Giant Peach, of course, which is odd, but so is the book too.
Yeah, I remember liking that as a kid.
There's both versions of The Witches.
I've only seen the older one, and read the book, of course.
There's The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. It was a short directed by Wes Anderson.
I haven't seen it. Was that recently?
Yeah, that was last year. It was what he won an Oscar for this past season.
Very interesting. I guess he likes doing Roald Dahl stuff.
I guess so. Then there's also the upcoming version of The Twits, which I didn't know was coming, but hey, that'll be cool. I like that book.
I remember reading it. I've read a lot of Roald Dahl, so.
And it's supposed to have beloved character actress Margot Martindale as Mrs. Twit. Hell yeah.
Very, very nice. Yeah.
I'm looking on the Wikipedia page of like films based on works by Roald Dahl, and it's including the Tom and Jerry Willy Wonka version.
That's funny.
That's absolutely ridiculous and disgusting. I hate it and love it.
I am curious. I've not seen that, but I've heard interesting things about it.
Should we include it during this?
That's up to you.
Let me see if it's on any streaming services, and if not, then I'm not going to bother. It doesn't look like Tom and Jerry Willy Wonka is on any streaming services, so I don't really want to pay to watch that. Yeah, we're just sticking to 3.
Yeah, we'll just skip it, ignore it. It'll be fine.
Which is unfortunate for the Tim Burton version, because now that one's definitely going to be the worst one.
Well, probably. Well, yes, I've seen all the movies, so I know what to expect.
Anyways, I mean, if we find a way to watch it for free, then I guess we'll add it in. But if there's only 3 movies we talk about in this video, then there's only 3 movies we talk about.
Fair enough. Deal.
Okay. Now there isn't really anything too deep about this movie. It's just what you see is what you get.
Yeah. All right.
Now, granted, there are some themes to explore that they do look at in this movie, such as being a good person at heart will get you rewarded one day and stuff like that.
The moral of the story, yeah.
But I mean, honestly, there isn't really too much to dissect there. It's pretty straightforward.
It is, yes.
But let's talk about some behind the scenes stuff.
Okay, let's do it.
So Gene Wilder had some input on Wonka's wardrobe and his character.
All right, nice. I do really like Wonka's fit.
Yeah, he changed the pants from green to tan and made the hat shorter. He also came up with the idea of Wonka coming out in a cane and limping before doing a somersault. His way of thinking was, nobody's going to trust what he does now.
Yeah, that's right. I don't trust him.
I don't either. I love him, but I don't trust that sneaky guy.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, that was a interesting thing to add.
Augustus had some adaptational niceness added to his character. This is pretty much all because his actor Michael Ballner couldn't speak much English.
Oh, okay.
So all he does is really eat and then fall into a chocolate river, which looks like liquid feces.
That's the life, man. Eating and falling into chocolate.
Julie Dawn Cole. I almost said her last name was Nicole. That'd been weird. She based Veruca's personality on some of her boarding school classmates, especially the ones she couldn't stand.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah, that would, which goes to show that she was absolutely incredible in the part.
Yeah, because we hated her.
Oh yeah.
But that's okay. That's what you're supposed to do.
So this movie didn't do great at the box office originally. It had a budget of $3 million and only made $4 million.
Why did it do so bad?
Bad luck, I guess.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's like a classic now.
Yeah, it is now, but at the time, not so much.
Yeah. Kind of unfortunate.
Yeah. Now in the 50 plus years, this is absolutely ridiculous that this movie since it's come out, I'm sure it's made back its budget with, continuous re-showings and plus home video sales. I mean, heck, I have 3 different copies of this movie. I have it on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K. So clearly, this movie is making money now.
Yeah, you're one of the single people helping it out. 3 movies. You're funny.
I try.
Yeah.
And I'm doing my part.
You are.
Plus, I saw it in the theater for its 45th anniversary showings.
Oh, when was that?
2016.
I did not go see that. Sorry. I didn't know you yet, so you couldn't drag me along.
No. How old were you? Like 19?
I graduated in 2016, so 18, turning 19.
Close enough.
Yeah. 18, 19.
There was a deleted scene that was filmed but not included, which, from the sounds of it, this sounds absolutely hilarious. It showed a traveler finding a guru in the Himalayas who asks the guru what the meaning of life is. And so the guru asks him for a Wonka bar, which he so happened to have. And then after he opens it and he doesn't find a golden ticket, the guru says, "Life is a disappointment."
That is funny. I like it.
That's true.
Yeah.
So Roald Dahl apparently hated this adaptation.
Oh. Why? I guess, I mean, it's, to be fair, it does stray from the book.
It does, but I feel like it does in a good way, like I said.
Yeah. I'm not bothered by it.
Like, it takes some of the stuff that, in a book would have been fine, like all of the talking scenes between Grandpa Joe and Charlie, where he just goes on and on about the backstory of Willy Wonka and all sorts of other different stuff like that. And I mean, that's not really needed for a movie.
No, not really.
And I feel like this it does streamline the book, and it only includes the important parts, and it doesn't really have too much of the fat that was in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, such as in when they actually get to Wonka's factory, there's a lot more scenes of other different rooms and other things that would have been interesting, but wouldn't have really added to the overall story of the movie.
Yeah, you got to keep it to a time limit, you know.
This was so the reason why Dahl didn't like this adaptation, partially because of the casting of Gene Wilder.
That's strange.
Yeah, he insisted that Spike Milligan should be Wonka.
I have no idea who that is.
Exactly. He was often described as the godfather of British comedy, so must have been pretty important back then.
I guess. I never heard of him.
But I think they made the right choice with Gene Wilder. He is absolutely, well, to put it plainly, he's absolutely magnetic in the role. You can't take your eyes off him, and whenever he's on screen, you just have a big old smile the whole time.
Yeah. He's definitely one of the best parts of the movie.
Other things that Dahl complained about, which these ones I can see why he's upset about, the extensive rewrites done to his script that they did without his approval.
Oh, yeah, I would be pretty mad too if they did something and I needed to approve it and they just didn't. Yeah, I'd be upset. I understand that.
Yeah, now that one I get, but still the end product is, I'm not going to say it's better than the book because that's not true. I'd say it's good in a different way than the book.
Yeah, it does have a lot of different things. So yeah, it does stray from the book, but yeah, like you said, it does it in a fine way. So it's fine.
Yeah, think of it like the Lord of the Rings books versus the movies. They're telling the same story, and neither are really better than the other. They're just doing their own thing. Well, they're doing the same thing in different ways.
I never read those books.
You know, you can do so much more with description when it comes to books. With movies, it's a more visual medium, so you have to be able to show, not tell.
Yep, I've heard that.
So the cast wasn't allowed to actually see the chocolate room until they shot the scene. So the reactions were real.
Yeah, pretty cool. I'd be impressed too if I saw a room full of edible things.
Also, actually real, Charlie's reaction to Wonka yelling at him, because in rehearsals Gene Wilder didn't yell at him. Now Gene Wilder and Peter Ostrom had become friends on set, and he wanted to tell him beforehand that he would be shouting so that Ostrom wouldn't be upset with him, but the director didn't let him.
I'd be scared. I'd be like, oh, I'm getting yelled at. Even though this is just acting, I'd still be so scared.
And immediately after shooting that scene, Wilder did apologize to him for that because the reaction on Ostrom's face was real.
Maybe that's why he quit acting. I wouldn't want to be yelled at by Gene Wilder.
Okay, like we said before, Gene Wilder's somersault when in his first appearance was made up by him on the spot, and Denise Nickerson, Violet, had thought that Wilder had hurt himself for real.
That's funny. Yeah, he's a good actor.
Yes, he was. Gene Wilder was the last of the major adult actors to die. He passed in 2016. And 4/5 of the kids are still alive. The only one who has passed was Denise Nickerson.
I don't think I've seen them in anything else, have I?
Probably not.
No, I don't think so.
But something that is also nice. I say also. What do you mean by that, Tyler?
I don't know.
The 5 child actors actually did become friends.
Well, that is nice.
And they did the commentary for the DVD.
Oh, very cool.
So, Raul, the reason why he wanted Spike Milligan was because he felt that Willy Wonka should be British.
Of course.
Anyways.
I mean, it don't matter to me, but I didn't write the book, so And I'm also American, so.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. Any other behind the scenes?
Denise Nickerson actually turned blue. Like the makeup that was used to make her turn blue, it went deep under her skin, and then it resurfaced during the next few weeks after she went back to school.
Oh, that would be so embarrassing. Everyone would be like, "Why are you blue? Why are you blue?" And you just gotta tell them you're working on a movie.
Yeah, Arrested Development hadn't come out yet, so she can't tell everyone, "I blew myself."
I blew myself. Hilarious. That's the most funniest joke I ever heard.
Julie Cole almost lost the mink coat that was made for her to wear in this movie. Mm-hmm. And the director yelled at her for it until she cried. So maybe this director's kind of a douche.
Maybe.
She did find a coat, though.
I mean, I'm sure it was an expensive coat if it was real. But yeah, it's kind of mean to yell at somebody.
Especially a kid.
Yeah. She found it.
She also snuck into the chalk room to get a peek of it early, which classic Veruca move.
Yeah, classic.
Also, Denise Nickerson ended up with 15 cavities from all the gum she chewed as Violet. How?
Yeah, how? I have never had a cavity in my life.
Were you just not brushing your teeth at the same time, too?
Just brush your teeth. Do it twice a day. Maybe even 3 times if you're eating or chewing lots of gum.
Jeez, that's a little silly.
Yeah. I think that is silly.
Okay, so this movie has had some milestone celebration releases too, as it turns out.
Yeah, like what?
For the 25th anniversary, it received a limited theatrical reissue and the first ever CD release of the soundtrack.
Ooh.
For the 30th anniversary, it got its first DVD release, I guess, or a special edition DVD release. This reunited several of its cast and crew members for bonus features and a making of book that went along with it.
Oh, that's nice.
For the 40th anniversary, it received a limited special collector's Ultimate Edition Blu-ray that had basically all that stuff, plus some other physical extras.
Yeah.
Also, that same year, Julie Cole's memoir, I Want It Now, was released too.
Oh, very nice.
For the 45th anniversary, the film soundtrack was released on vinyl, re-released on it.
Okay, yeah.
And for the 50th anniversary, it received its 4K release, which is the version we just watched.
What year was their 50th?
2021.
Okay. Very nice. It's been around for quite a while.
So 4 out of 5 of the kids were absolutely sweet to work with, according to Gene Wilder, except for one.
Which one?
Paris Theman, the kid who played Mike TV.
It's his voice, I'm telling you. I was right.
Well, I'm assuming he seemed like the youngest one there, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, he did look a little younger than the rest.
An interviewer asked him how he's getting along with the kids, and Gene Wilder said, "Oh, 4 of them are great, and one of them I'm going to shoot in the head tomorrow."
Classic.
He's great.
That's funny.
Okay. As it turns out, Julie Cole and Denise Nickerson both had a crush on Peter Ostrom, too.
Oh, yeah. Little kids, little girls be like that sometimes.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm. Very cute, I guess.
Also, according to Julie Cole, we're getting a lot of behind the scenes from her.
Yeah, we are.
She thought it would be in character for Veruca to cross her fingers behind her back when promising not to show everyone the everlasting gobstopper. The director wasn't too familiar with this gesture. I'm assuming because he was British, they don't have that over there.
Maybe it was more of a younger kid thing at the time.
But once Cole, but yeah, then again, she is also British, so maybe it is just a younger thing. Anyways, she explained it to him, so he made sure to get that in a close-up shot.
Yeah. pretty nice, yeah. I would say that's definitely in character, yeah.
A lot of different lines and stuff were ad-libbing because, honestly, you have all these comedic actors. They're going to start making stuff up just because it's fun.
Yeah. Which is good. Lots of good stuff.
Okay. So, there were some other actors who were considered for these roles as well.
All right. Like who?
Well, John Pertwee was the first choice for Willy Wonka, but he had to turn it down because of scheduling commitments to Doctor Who.
Okay, yeah, I'm not familiar.
Spike Milligan was, he, like I said, he was Roald Dahl's first choice, but he was turned down due to creative differences. And as I've also said before, Roald Dahl was upset about that, but I don't care about Roald Dahl's feelings because he was honestly kind of a douchebag himself, too.
All right. Anybody else?
This is interesting. Fred Astaire, Peter Cook, Michael Crawford, Joel Grey, Frankie Howard, Dudley Moore, Ron Moody, and Peter Sellers were also considered.
Very interesting. Some of those names that I recognize.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently all the kids survived in the movie, but it's more funny when Wonka's just like, maybe.
And maybe they're all dead. Who knows?
All right. So that's basically all the trivia I found interesting.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on Willy Wonka?
It's a classic. It just, you can open up your imagination and your love for chocolate and just, watch the movie.
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely going to be something we show our kids.
Probably, yeah.
So, next we have the Tim Burton version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Here we go.
Let's go watch it.
So, we just watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Tim Burton remake from 2005, and I think I like this better than I remembered, honestly.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. There were funny parts, and I enjoyed my time. So, it's not as bad as what I thought.
Yeah. At the end of the original portion, I was probably dreading this next one, but in a nice turn of events, I ended up liking this more than I thought I would again. So that's nice.
Yeah. There were some good things about this movie. I can argue some good things.
All right, so let's get into this. This movie starred Johnny Depp as not the titular Willy Wonka, but Willy Wonka. And this is actually one of my least favorite things about this movie. I feel like Depp's performance in this was too awkward. His storyline with having daddy issues was a bit, it wasn't my thing. I didn't really care for that.
I think that's probably right. Maybe one of the weakest points of the movie. But it is a kind of an odd choice to make Willy Wonka act this way and give him some background like that. But it's a different thing. It's a creative choice, I guess.
It's certainly a choice. I feel like Wonka was the more emphasized character in this movie rather than Charlie. After they get to the factory, Charlie becomes basically just a footnote next to Wonka, and I didn't really care for, again, Johnny Depp's performance. It just wasn't for me. It was too awkward. It was too off-putting, too creepy. Like Wonka should be. Well, I don't think you should trust him, but it's a different kind of distrust than we had from the original. And that one, we don't trust him because, we get the feeling that anything can happen. With this, we don't trust him because he's just flat out creepy.
He is pretty creepy. I will agree with that. So, yeah, it's just kind of a weird performance.
Yeah, he does have some funny moments here and there, but for the most part, it's not my thing.
Yeah. But yeah. Go on, keep going. Who else is in this movie?
Speaking of Charlie, Freddie Highmore plays this character, and I didn't care for him in this movie either. In all honesty, he just seemed too one note and perfect a kid to be in this.
I do get what you're saying because he is very like saintly, I guess. Like he's just does everything he's supposed to. He's perfect. He's not making mistakes like the other Charlie.
He has to be convinced in order to actually use the golden ticket to get into Wonka's factory. You know, at first he just wants to sell it so that they can get money since his dad just lost his job. But you know, his grandpa George has to convince him to actually do it.
Yeah. So, you know, would a kid really act like that? I would say probably not. But hey, you never know.
And at one point when he gets his one Wonka bar a year for his birthday, which did happen in the book, that is book accurate. Which this movie is a more accurate adaptation than the 1971 version, but we'll get to that later. He even shares it among his family. He just divides it up like he's giving out communion. Like, do this in memory of me. Like, what? Why would you do that, Charlie? That's a bit. That doesn't seem very realistic.
Maybe he's supposed to represent Jesus.
This is not Zack Snyder's Willy Wonka. There is no Jesus archetypes here.
Sure.
Anyways, the original Charlie, and I promise I'm not going to just turn this into an old versus new comparison of these Willy Wonka movies, but the old Charlie was a realistic kid. He could be greedy at times. He made mistakes. He was an actual legit kid.
Yeah, and this Charlie, he does seem too perfect, too beyond his years, you know.
David Kelly plays Grandpa Joe, and this one doesn't seem like as much of a scumbag as the original, so that's nice. I
agree. He is much more feeble, so you can forgive him for not working.
And he was working at Willy Wonka's factory before. That wasn't in the book, but I'm not going to be too upset over a change like that. It doesn't really affect the narrative too much.
No.
And you know, you can believe that this crippled old fart can't work until he leaps up out of bed and dances around. So he was faking, I guess.
Yeah, maybe that was just the adrenaline really helped him get going.
Maybe. Anyways, Tim Burton mainstay Helena Bonham Carter plays Charlie's mom, Mrs. Bucket, and Noah Taylor plays his dad, Mr. Bucket. They don't really have too much character moments in this movie, but yeah, they're fine enough, I guess.
Yeah, they don't have too big of parts.
The other kids in this movie are Violet Beauregard, played by Anna Sophia Robb. She kind of blew up in the mid-2000s after this movie.
Yeah, because Terabithia, didn't it come out after this?
Yep, Bridge to Terabithia came out after this, among other things she did.
Yep.
Veruca Salt, played by Julia Winter this time. You know, does a job that she's required to do. Mike TV is played by Jordan Fry, and I hate this little kid so much, so, you know, the actor did an amazing job.
Yeah. You were definitely not supposed to like this kid.
Like, the original Mike TV was kind of annoying, probably due to his voice, I hate to say. But he wasn't really despicable. This one is just obnoxious, and I hope he has a bad day for the rest of his life in this movie. Not the actor, obviously.
Yeah.
And Augustus Gloop, the big fat fatty who falls into the chocolate river because he's a big fat ass.
Whoa.
Is played by Philip Wheatgrass.
You gotta chill. Yeah.
You know, all the kids do, you know, the job that they're that they're given, and some of their character traits that were showcased in the book and the original movie are updated for modern times, which is good. I like that. Instead of just being a gum chewing enthusiast, Violet is also just a competitive girl in general, and her mom is the kind of soccer mom who's always pushing her kid to win.
Yeah. The competitive one. Mm-hmm.
Instead of just being a TV kid, Mike TV is also a gamer, which makes sense given that he drops a slur in this movie.
Yeah. The R word.
Retard.
Which, yeah, back then, it was used more.
Yeah.
Back in 04?
05.
05, yeah.
It was a different time.
It was, yeah.
And I was saying to you during his scene, he's a gamer and he's not even dropping any slurs. But then then I remember he just dropped that one. So it's like, oh, he did. He is a gamer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I wasn't expecting it, but yeah, it's a different time.
Okay, so this movie does take more inspiration from the book, which I do like that. It included events like Wonka building a chocolate palace for this Indian prince, and then it ended up melting on top of the guy. I don't know what he was thinking, having this whole chocolate palace in the middle of India. It's going to get hot.
Yeah, it's going to melt. I would have just ate it.
Is he stupid or something?
I guess so.
And among other things, like going a little bit more into why Wonka's factory closed down, because there were corporate spies being sent in by the other candy makers. And just... Oh, do you have something?
Yeah, Charlie's parents.
Yeah, he has both of his parents. Mm-hmm. His dad isn't dead like he was in the original movie.
Yeah, and also the squirrels.
Yeah, they didn't use the squirrels in the original movie because that just wasn't possible to do at that time.
Yeah, they didn't have CGI, and can't really train a whole bunch of squirrels, I guess.
I guess you can hard. Now.
Squirrels are very squirrely.
Yeah. And also the songs that the Oompa Loompas sing in this movie are a bit closer to the lyrics of the book.
See, I don't remember the book lyrics, but I do like the songs.
I like them fine. I just, for the life of me, I could not remember them. I like how they did a different style for each song, though, sort of aping different decades of music stylings.
Yeah, I will agree with you that they're not as memorable, especially as the classic songs, but it does shake things up. It's not the same Oompa Loompa song over and over. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it does. It's a little different. They're catchy. I thought they were fun.
Yeah. Speaking of music, the score to this movie is, well, it's nice. You know, it's got a bit of an ominous sort of an adventure feel to it, which is quite a bit different from the more whimsical nature of the original. So these scores are going for different feelings, which is fine. I would have to say I like the original more, but this does have some good music. Well, it's Danny Elfman, of course.
Yeah, it definitely fits the tone of a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, exactly. And definitely when they're actually riding the boat down the Chocolate River, which that's another thing. The Chocolate River in this movie actually looks like chocolate instead of just liquid feces.
Yeah, which is another thing that technology helps out with. But yeah, I want to eat it. I will eat it.
Which, comparing that scene to the boat scene from the original, honestly, the boat scene from the original Willy Wonka never really scared me too much as a kid.
Me either.
I thought it was a little creepy, but it didn't really scare me. I thought it was more fun than anything.
Yeah, a bit unsettling, but yeah, it wasn't that bad.
It got a little scary when Gene Wilder's Wonka started screaming. So it's like, okay, he's unsettled now. Maybe I should be a little bit more.
Yeah.
But again, they're not. The boat scene in the book was different from the original movie. So, again, this remake does get points for book accuracy, so I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't help but love the original so much more than this one.
The original is a classic. Yeah. And I'm rewatching this one. I will say I liked it more than I thought I was going to. There were some jokes that I really liked that actually made me laugh. So yeah. So I mean, I had a better time than what I thought.
So, would you like to know what Gene Wilder thought of this movie?
Sure.
He didn't like it.
Why not?
He just didn't really the things that they did in this movie didn't really vibe with him too much.
It is a completely different tone, I would say, than his movie.
Yeah, it is, and there's very few things that I like better in this one than I did in the original. I do like that they are more book accurate, which you don't need to be a completely accurate adaptation of a book in order to be a good movie. You know, look at the Fox X-Men movies. They do deviate considerably from the comics, but I feel like they're worthy stories in their own right for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I have lots of complaints of movies that don't follow the books, but I do agree that you can deviate from the book and still make a good movie.
And also look at the classic Universal monster movies. Those deviate pretty heavily from the books that they're based off of. Let's just look at Frankenstein and Dracula.
Yeah. I do still like Frankenstein, even though I'm a big Frankenstein book nerd.
Gene Wilder didn't care for the movie, but he had nice things to say about Johnny Depp as Wonka, which I don't necessarily agree, but we can agree to disagree.
Yeah, maybe he liked the direction that Depp took it in.
Roald Dahl's widow Felicity liked it, and she thinks that he would have liked it too.
Nice. We may have talked about this. Was Roald Dahl live with Gene Wilder's?
Yeah,
and he didn't like it. Is that what
correct.
you said? Because it was different from the book, so maybe that's what got him mad.
Diana Sell, who played Mrs. Bucket in the original movie, didn't like this either. She said that it wasn't quite right and it lacked the charm that the original movie had, which I agree.
I will say it did lack the charm, but I do think Tim Burton tried something different. He didn't want this to be just another Willy Wonka. He wanted, I do believe, to do something different.
Another thing that I do like in this movie over the original is just the aesthetics of all this. Like, this movie looks incredible. It has some pretty good cinematography and some great, set design. I like all of this. It looks great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll agree with you. Which also I think is something that, as time goes on, it was better able to do with the technology they had, compared to, back in whatever, I don't know my dates.
Well,
but yeah, it was good.
When you get Tim Burton to make a movie, he's gonna make a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, you're gonna be able to tell that Tim Burton has his mark on this.
Say what you want about the man's creative choices, but he knows how to line up a shot and make it look great.
Mm-hmm. I'll agree with you. Yep.
The aesthetics of, heck, the bucket house, the inside the factory, it looks good. I like all of it.
Yeah, when you get that glimpse of the chocolate river and waterfall, it looks really good. And he has, and the opening credits.
Yeah, with
that whole chocolate bar traveling.
Going through making a chocolate bar like how Lord of War did with the bullet in the opening.
I guess so. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. So according to Roald Dahl's widow, he would have been happy with either Dustin Hoffman or an English comedian like Eddie Izzard or David Walliams playing Wonka.
I don't know who they are.
Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, well, Dustin Hoffman. Who was the other guy you said?
Eddie Izzard. Susie Eddie Izzard, since she transitioned since.
Okay.
Well, she's a.
I still don't know.
She's a comedian.
Okay.
I don't know much of her work. She played Voldemort in Lego Batman.
All right. I don't remember. I'm sure. Yeah. Okay.
And
I just don't know anybody.
David Walliams. I
Oh.
don't recognize any of his work.
You were pronouncing his name right. I thought you just stuttered with Williams.
Her ideal choice for Grandpa Joe was Christopher Lloyd, though.
Pretty cool.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Okay. Tim Burton didn't want to use only CGI for the squirrels, so he paid a team of animal trainers to train 40 real squirrels for it.
Yeah, I can tell there were scenes where the squirrels were actually real.
It
They're
took
cute.
it took them 19 weeks of pretty hard work to do each individual squirrel. And all this for a scene that takes up less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Say what you want about the movie, but you can't say that they didn't put in a lot of effort.
Yep, there was some dedication there for sure.
One actor that we haven't mentioned yet was Christopher Lee, who Tim Burton worked with in Lee's later years.
Yeah, Christopher's, I made them plural. Christopher Lee has been in I know of at least 2 Tim Burton movies. He was voice in
Corpse Bride?
Yeah. And this one. Do you know any more?
No, but we're going to keep continuing on.
Okay. Keep going.
He plays Willy Wonka's father, which is... I both like and I don't like this subplot at the same time. I don't like it because I don't feel like we need to know Wonka's backstory. Like, it doesn't really add anything to the movie. This is Charlie's story, after all. We don't need Wonka's backstory. But I'm not upset about having Christopher Lee in the movie.
Yeah, I'm not upset about that. Plus, there were a lot of things from his flashbacks that made me laugh. When he moved his entire house.
Yeah. Wonka's father found out that he was eating candy behind his back since when he went trick-or-treating, he just burned all his candy in front of him, which, why did you let him go out for, trick-or-treating if you knew he was going to bring candy back?
I guess just so he can have some fun with his friends.
I don't get it. And, it's funny, though, when Wonka is just watching his father burn all his candy, he just has this look on his face like, yeah, I should have seen this coming.
Yeah, happens every year.
Why do I keep doing this? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
But, so he finds out that Wonka's been eating candy behind his back, and he's kind of pissed off about it. So Wonka says that he's going to run away to Switzerland and Bavaria, all these places that are pretty well known for their candy. And then his dad tells him that I won't be here when you get back. So we see this montage of Wonka and all these flags, but it turns out he was just looking at a whole bunch of flags in a museum.
Mm-hmm. A very funny part. Yep.
It makes you think that he's traveling because you've seen movies. That's shorthand for that. But no, he's just at a museum for the day, just looking at all these flags, probably thinking, man, I'm going to go to all of these countries. My dad's not going to stop me. So he's told that museum's closing. Gotta go home. So he goes back to where his house was, and his dad just picked up the house and left.
Yeah, there's a huge empty spot where his entire house was.
Man was not kidding. He said, I'm not going to be here if you come back. He wasn't. Neither was the house.
Well, that makes me wonder of what Willy Wonka did. Where did he go?
It's not important.
Maybe he had a grandma to live with or something. Which is so funny. It's completely gone.
And his dad's a dentist too, so you would think that he's okay with kids eating candy because then that's business for him.
Well, yeah, I thought that he was fine with other kids eating candy, but he didn't want his own kid to eat candy because he wanted him to have good teeth.
Which Wonka does have surprisingly good teeth for a man who makes candy. Mm-hmm. We see him meet his father again at the end of the movie. They reconcile and all that. And he has absolutely flawless teeth. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, he takes care. Well, his dad was a dentist. He learned to take care of his teeth, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It's still funny, though.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so this is a Tim Burton movie, of course, so no duh that Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham Carter, and Danny Elfman are along for the ride. And I found out while watching the movie that there's only been 3 movies of Tim Burton's that Danny Elfman did not score for.
Yeah, I remember you told me them, but can you tell me them again because I don't remember?
Yeah, let me just look at my browser history for this. Okay. Thank you, Screen Rant.
Yep.
Okay, the first one was Ed Wood. This was in 1994. At the time, they were their relationship had been strained. They didn't really they weren't getting along at the time, so he was replaced by Howard Shore, the man who would go on to score the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, good choice.
Yeah, very good choice. I love the score of that movie.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately, they have patched things up since, which is good. Tim Burton and Danny Elfman is like Steven Spielberg and John Williams. You can't have one without the other, usually. And funnily enough, Spielberg and Williams have only not collaborated on 3 movies as well.
Yeah, I mean, they just come together. You gotta have them as a pair.
The next one was Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, in which Tim Burton just used Stephen Sondheim's original score from the musical.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense, yeah.
You know, why change it? It's already perfect.
Yeah, why change something that already works really well?
And the last one was Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I can't say that word sometimes.
Yeah.
I have not seen this movie. I don't know anything about it.
I have, and I read the book, and that's another thing. That's another one of those movies that I'm like, this is stupid because the book is so much better. So, you know, just read the book.
Okay. At one point, they talked about killing out Charlie's father again, like they did in the original movie.
Mm-hmm. Why'd they decide not to?
The studio suggested having Wonka as a father figure to Charlie, which Burton did not want that because Willy Wonka is not a father figure. So, okay, we were saved from even more cringe.
Yeah. Yeah, the Willy Wonka in this movie is not a very good paternal figure. That's for sure.
Guess who was the second choice the studio had for Wonka? You will never guess this. I guarantee it.
Well, I don't even know. I don't even know who to guess. 2004? 5? Yeah, it beats me.
The Rock.
That is odd.
That's very odd.
Because this is kind of before his big acting phase, I guess.
Well, he was doing stuff. He just started with The Mummy Returns in 2001.
Yeah. But yeah, he doesn't really strike me as a Willy Wonka type.
I would like to see that though. That'd be funny.
That would be different. I think that would be funny, yeah.
Nicolas Cage also had discussions for the part, but turned it down because he had scheduling conflicts with National Treasure.
See, I could see Nicolas Cage being Willy Wonka.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Other actors in consideration were Adam Sandler.
Okay, I could get behind that.
Ben Stiller.
Yeah, that too.
Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt.
Okay, I don't know about that.
Christopher Walken.
That could, yeah, he'd be a kind of creepy one, yeah.
Dustin Hoffman, of course.
Yeah.
Eric Idle. One of the guys from Monty Python.
Okay.
Jim Carrey.
I can see that.
John Cleese, another one of the Pythons.
Yeah, I can see that.
Leslie Nielsen.
I know who that is, don't I?
Airplane.
Yes.
Naked Gun.
Yep. Yeah, he could.
Michael Keaton.
Oh, yeah, he could.
I would have loved that.
Yeah.
And Michael Keaton has worked with Tim Burton after this, but still, could have been nice to start their working relationship.
Yeah, I could see him doing really well.
No, this wouldn't have been the start of their relationship because he had done Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Jeez, now I'm feeling like something that Mike TV would call someone.
Okay, keep going. Who else?
Michael Palin, another one of the Pythons.
Okay.
Mike Myers.
Yeah, it depends.
Patrick Stewart.
I wouldn't really guess that, but okay.
Robert De Niro.
Interesting.
Bold choice.
That is a bold choice.
Not that he couldn't do it. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't picture him as Wonka.
No, I wouldn't either.
Robin Williams. That would have been great.
Okay, yeah, I could see what Robin Williams.
Steve Martin.
Yes.
Will Smith.
Okay.
And Marilyn Manson.
He's got to have somebody creepy. I guess he knew he wanted more of a off-putting Willy Wonka.
Gregory Peck and Peter Ustinov were approached for the role of Grandpa Joe before David Kelly was cast, but both of them died before they were able to actually talk about it.
Oh, yeah. They were too old.
Albert Finney, who had previously worked with Tim Burton on Big Fish.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Hopkins, Christopher Lloyd, George Carlin, Kirk Douglas, David Warner, Eli Wallach. That would have been interesting. Max von Sydow, Michael Caine, Paul Newman, Richard Attenborough, Richard Griffiths, and Ron Moody were also considered for the role of Grandpa Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say any of them would be fine.
Honestly, I like David Kelly fine in the role, but I feel like any one of those would have done a better job.
Yeah, it might have been more interesting to have maybe a bigger name as Grandpa Joe. But, I mean, I don't know. It's fine.
This next group of actors who were considered for the role of Mike TV's dad, they all have something in common, and I want you to try to guess what it was after I get done with the names.
Okay, I will try my best.
Dan Castellaneta, Ed O'Neill, James Belushi, Kurtwood Smith, Bob Saget, Ray Romano, and Tim Allen were all considered for the role of Mr. TV before Adam Godley was cast.
They're all TV dads.
Yeah. Dan Castellaneta, of course, is Homer Simpson on The Simpsons. Ed O'Neill's on Modern Family. James Belushi was on According to Jim. Kurtwood Smith was Red Foreman on That 70s Show. Bob Saget, rest in peace, was Danny Tanner on Full House. Mm-hmm. Ray Romano was on Everyone Hates Raymond. And Tim Allen was Tim the Toolman Taylor on Home Improvement.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. He had a type he wanted. He wanted a TV dad for Mike TV. His dad.
Other directors were also approached to do the movie before Tim Burton was hired. Robert Zemeckis, Rob Minkoff, Barry Levinson, Gary Ross, and Frank Oz were all approached. And there's another name who you would not have expected, but it makes sense when you think about it, actually.
Okay.
Martin Scorsese was approached, which, if you've seen Hugo, you know he can do this kind of story well.
Yeah, you're right.
And both of these movies had Christopher Lee in them, too.
Yep. Huh. Very interesting.
Yeah. So, overall, this movie is not... It's not bad. It's not my favorite, of course, and of these three movies we're going to watch. This is still my least favorite. But maybe I treated it a bit too harshly.
Yeah, I think so. Because rewatching it, I'm like, okay, you know what? This is perfectly fine. I'm not having a bad time.
And honestly, there's far worse things that you could be watching. There's better things too. So if you have a choice between this one and the original, I'd say watch the original, definitely. But if you want something more visually appealing and striking, then definitely go with this one. It's a perfectly fine movie, and as an adaptation, it works pretty well for the most part until we get to where the book ends. The book ends with Wonka, not Peter, Charlie, and I don't know why I wanted to call him Peter. That's weird. And Grandpa Joe crashing the big glass elevator through the roof of Charlie's house, which these people are poor enough, Wonka. Why are you destroying their house more? You absolute douchebag.
Yeah, they already had holes in their roof, and now they got one more big one.
Anyways, and they load Grandma Josephine, Grandpa George, and Grandma Georgina. They all marry people with basically their same names. That's weird.
That is a little weird.
And Charlie's parents in the Great Glass Elevator, and they go up to space, which leads into the next book, Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. It's
Yeah, I didn't read that one.
yeah, it's entirely different from the original book. They spend like almost no time in the chocolate factory because they're in space.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. Anyways, this when Wonka tries to get Charlie to come to the factory to live with him, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah, out of context, yes.
Keep in mind, this movie came out like right after the Michael Jackson molestation scandal was happening, and according to Tim Burton, there is no correlation between there's no connection between Michael Jackson and Willy Wonka. I'm not sure if I believe him, but then again, a lot of Tim Burton's protagonists are pale, misfit loners. So it probably is just a coincidence.
Yeah, I definitely would say so.
Anyways, Wonka asks Charlie if he wants to come with him, and Charlie says, "No, I don't want to leave my family." At the end, Wonka allows the family to move in with him in the factory. They move their crappy little shack into the candy room. That's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And everything works out. Everything's happily ever after. Wonka reconciles with his father, and it's all wrapped nicely in a neat little bow.
Yep, it ends happy. Yeah.
Okay, so who was your favorite character in all this?
It's kind of hard to choose. Can I choose the Oompa Loompa guy?
Sure.
I thought he was funny and very talented.
Yeah. It's very impressive that Deep Roy was able to play every single Oompa Loompa. They just made him tinier.
Yeah, he probably had to do the most work.
I hope they paid him very well.
I hope so, because he was like 700 people.
Well, they're not people; they're Oompa Loompas.
Well, they're people.
No.
All right. Well, who's your favorite
Oompa
character?
Loompas don't deserve to live.
Who's your favorite character?
They need to be eradicated from this world.
Okay, who's your favorite character?
Just kidding about the Oompa Loompas, by the way.
Yeah. Answer the question.
Wonka's dad, just based on the fact that he's played by Christopher Lee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, Christopher Lee is one of my favorite actors, so anytime I see him in something, I'm gonna like that thing a little bit more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Always good to see Christopher Lee.
So that will do it for us. Next, we have the most recent addition to the Willy Wonka movies, Wonka, starring Timothée Chalamet. Mm-hmm. A prequel, I guess, to the original movie.
Yeah.
They do play a little bit loose with the continuity, but who cares?
It's fine, yeah.
Things line up well enough, I guess.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
Wonka, the latest in the Willy Wonka movies. No, we're not doing Tom and Jerry Willy Wonka because honestly, that is just too freaking cursed in order to at all talk about. So we're not going to do that.
Yeah, we could just skip over that one. It's okay.
Yeah, we're going to do that. So this latest movie was released just this last year of 2023. We saw it a bit later. We saw it earlier this year because,
Yeah, that's just how it worked out, I guess. I think January probably.
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm. So, this movie was directed by Paul King, better known for Paddington 2, and the first one too, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely have the same vibe. That wholesome, pure, just good, all around good vibe.
Just a movie with very nice energy. So, obviously, he was perfect for this movie.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
This movie also stars Timothée Chalamet as Tyr. This takes place when he was younger, trying to make a name for himself in the chocolate business and coming across problems, big and small.
Yeah. He's just a young kid, well, or young adult, I guess, and he is, he is full of dreams, and he just wants to spread chocolate to the world.
He's assisted by Noodle, played by Calla Lane. She is a young orphan stuck at, basically a sweatshop run by Mrs. Scrubbit, played by Olivia Colman, who is delightfully hateable in this movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure. She always plays interesting characters.
Yeah. Mrs. Scrubbit joins the ranks of the original Veruca Salt and the remake Mike TV as some of the most hateable characters in the Willy Wonka movie franchise.
Yeah, I agree.
Which, alongside those actors, just gives credit to her ability as an actress.
Well, she does have an Oscar.
That's true, she does.
Yeah, so she's good. Do you need a...
Also in this cast, Patterson Joseph plays Chocolate... hold on. Anyways, before we were so rudely interrupted by a fat, disabled piece of crap cat named Willy.
No. He was just curious.
Patterson Joseph plays Slugworth, Wonka's future rival in the chocolate business, alongside Matt Lucas and Matthew Bainton as Prodnose and Fickelgruber. Later on in the canon, these three would send spies into Wonka's factory in order to steal his secrets, which would make him go out of business, but then come back years later.
Yep, after having some mysterious help. Oompa Loompas.
Yeah. He traffics Oompa Loompas into the country in order to run his business, and then he pays them under the table with chocolate. This is literally what happens. I'm not reading too much into it.
Sounds bad, but they're happy. They look happy.
Yeah, they get to sing about young children almost dying every day. So, great job.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, supposedly this is a prequel to the original Willy Wonka. Sure, fine, I'll buy it. I would have much rather bought Jeremy Allen White as a young Gene Wilder than Timothée Chalamet, but you know what? Chalamet did a fantastic job either way.
Yeah, Chalamet did do a really good job, but I mean, Jeremy Allen White, he's got the looks. He is eerily.
Bro looks like Gene Wilder.
Yeah, it's eerily similar.
How are they not related?
Yeah, I don't know, but Chalamet definitely did this role well.
And I'm not exactly the biggest Timothée Chalamet fan. I think he's okay, but I'm not a Chalamet simp, as it were.
Yeah, I'm not either. He's not my type. But this was probably the first role I've seen him in, I think. And yeah, it was a very good performance.
I'd have to look at some of his filmography to see what else I've seen him in, because I haven't watched either Dune movie yet. So I haven't seen him in those.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Keegan-Michael Key is also in this movie as the chief of police, he's probably one of the funniest characters in this movie. Well, no duh, it's Keegan-Michael Key.
Yeah, and I relate to him a lot.
Because you too would be bribed by corrupt CEOs with chocolate.
Oh, easily. It would not take me very much bribing or... I would eat their chocolate.
I know.
Yeah, I would take the chocolate bribe for sure.
Sally Hawkins appears briefly as Wonka's mom, Sally Hawkins was in the first two Paddington movies, so makes sense that she would be in this one as well.
Yeah.
And Rowan Atkinson has a small appearance as the corrupt Father Julius, the keeper of the chocolate cartel's storage, as it were.
Yeah, a small but pretty hilarious role.
Which it's Rowan Atkinson, no duh.
Yeah, he's gonna make it funny. Yeah.
Okay, just looking at the rest of Timothée Chalamet's filmography, I don't think I've seen any of these at all.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This is probably his first role I've seen.
Oh, Interstellar. He had a small role as Matthew McConaughey's son when he was younger, but didn't know that was Timothy Chalamet at the time. So
I didn't see it, so
yeah, I mean, he has things that I would have thought I would have seen, like Call Me by Your Name, Hostiles, Little Women. Okay, in what world would I have seen Little Women?
yeah, you do not strike me as the Little Women type.
The French Dispatch, both Dune movies. You know, he has some work on his resume. I just haven't seen very much of it.
Yeah, me too.
Which I have to. I would like to see both Dune movies.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really seem like my type of movies, but sure.
Well, they're supposedly part of what's inspired Star Wars, but they seem to be a more harder science fiction than Star Wars is, which is more based in fantasy, western, and samurai movies.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest science fiction fan, especially when it leans very,
Harder into it.
yeah, that's, yeah. So I don't know.
Okay, let's get back to the movie. So this movie, like we said, takes place during Wonka's younger years, and it's, in all honesty, this wasn't the most needed movie. I don't think we didn't need to necessarily see Wonka's past. I think it could have worked just as fine to just have the original Gene Wilder movie, and I guess the Tim Burton remake. You know, as all we have for Wonka, which those are two separate continuities anyway, so that doesn't matter in regards to each other. But having said this, even though we didn't necessarily need this movie, I enjoy that we have it.
Yeah, I remember when I first heard about it, I was like, a Wonka prequel? I was like, man, I don't know if that's going to be any good, and I just really was like, oh, we don't need this. But then I watched it.
And it was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. It's really good.
Yeah, it's got the same vibe as Paddington 2. Well, not to say that it's as good as that. It's not. Not a whole lot of movies are.
Yeah.
But it has the same vibe, you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Like, same vibe. It's happy. It's cute, if you can call it that. It is
It's very childlike, but in the best
Yeah.
way possible.
It is a very feel-good movie. You watch it to feel good.
And you do feel good, especially at the end when when Wonka gets to see his mom in the crowd. She's a hallucination. She's since died. And when Noodle gets to reunite with her mom.
Yeah, man, freaking both times I've watched this. I have been pregnant both times I've watched this, so I blame it on my hormones. But yeah, it just makes me cry. It could make a grown man cry.
It did a little bit.
It's just so wholesome. It's just so nice. Like I said, it just makes you feel so good.
And I'm glad this movie did well financially speaking. It had a budget of around 120 million-ish, which, how do you spend 120 million on a Willy Wonka movie? I don't get that. Movies cost way too much to make these days. And we can't blame that all on inflation either.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I don't know much about that.
Anyways, it did make back its budget, plus some. It made a pretty decent profit. It wasn't a Barbie or Super Mario Brothers movie, but it did fine enough.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of people talk about it, and it seems to have gotten good reviews, I assume.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to check its score on Rotten Tomatoes real quick. Not that really determines whether a movie is good, because honestly, if you rely on Rotten Tomatoes scores for, to see if the movie you're watching is good or if you'll like it, then you're going to be sorely mistaken. But this movie has an 82% critic score and a 91% audience score.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. I loved it so much more than what I thought I was going to, because I thought I wasn't going to like it. But
You thought it was going to be some cheap cash grab?
I guess so, yeah. But it wasn't. It was very wholesome.
While we're on the site, let's check the scores for the first two movies.
Okay.
The original Willy Wonka had a critic score of 92 and an audience score of 87.
All right.
And the remake if I can spell Charlie's name right.
I.E.
The remake by Tim Burton had a critic score of 83%, so slightly higher than Wonka, and an audience score of 51%.
Yeah, pretty different there. But
no worries though.
Yeah, like I said, I don't use Rotten Tomatoes to judge if I'm gonna like a movie or not. Not at all.
Okay, so Hugh Grant apparently did not like his time working on this movie.
I mean, he did have a kind of a. It's a little goofy. He's just the face of a Oompa Loompa.
Well, his thing was he didn't like the process of motion capture. He thought it was. He thought it was physically uncomfortable. He described it as having a crown of thorns. That's kind of blasphemous.
That seems like an odd thing to describe.
That's a weird way to describe it, but okay, whatever.
Yeah.
He also didn't like the direction he got, which that's a bit more understandable. He said he never received a satisfactory answer on whether to act with his body or not.
Okay.
And a lot of his physical work was ultimately replaced with the animation in post. Okay, yeah, I get it. You put all this work into something, and then you ended up getting replaced by people animating over it. I get it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Now when asked why he accepted the role, he kind of jokingly said that he slightly hates making films, but he has lots of children and need money.
Yeah.
You know what? Can't argue with that.
Yep. It's a fair enough reason.
Okay. So, both Paul King and Timothée Chalamet have said that they're big fans of not only the original story, but the original and the Tim Burton adaptations of this movie. Huh.
Sorry, who said that?
Paul King and Timothée Chalamet.
Oh, okay.
Did you just doze off for a second?
I honestly think I did. I'm sorry.
Chalamet recalled seeing Tim Burton's movie as a child and said, "If you would have told me when I was 12 years old watching the Johnny Depp version of Willy Wonka that I'd get to be here in Tokyo promoting this movie as Willy Wonka, standing next to Hugh Grant, I would have told you were lying."
Yeah, that does seem quite different.
Which I always like it when actors or directors or something are fans of a thing, and then later on they get to do work in the same world or same like ballpark of that thing. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's really nice because you know that their performance is motivated by
more than just the money.
Yeah.
It's like when Carl Urban got to play Judge Dredd in the 2012 version of the movie. He's a big Judge Dredd fan of the comics, not the Sylvester Stallone movie. That can go to hell.
Whoa.
He was part of why Dredd never took his helmet off in the movie, because Dredd never does that in the comics, and that was a big point of contention with the Sylvester Stallone movie, because he more often than not didn't wear his helmet as opposed to wearing it.
Yeah, I guess you got to show off that you have Sylvester Stallone in your movie, so got to take the helmet off. Probably
helps that Carl Urban is a cheaper actor than Stallone. You don't have to show off the money as much.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyways, back to Wonka. Point is, it's nice when actors are a fan of the thing that they're doing.
Yes, I agree.
So there were other choices for the role of Willy Wonka, as to be expected.
Yeah, like who?
Well, we have the internet's favorite fan cast for young white characters, Tom Holland.
Of course.
Between him and Timothée Chalamet, they made the right choice with Chalamet.
I agree.
Donald Glover.
Okay.
Which that wouldn't have really meshed with the original one very well, unless somehow Donald Glover's Willy Wonka had the same disease as Michael Jackson.
Yeah, it would have worked as its own movie, though.
Yeah, if they did it like that, then it would have worked fine, because I love Donald Glover. He's an incredible actor. He's a very funny stand-up comedian, and he's a great singer too.
Yeah, I could see him doing a good job.
So, next question is there anything he can't do?
I don't know.
Suck?
Maybe.
Ryan Gosling. Yeah, they did ask me to do that, but I guess I was busy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Busy with Barbie, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I think I was busy with that.
Yeah.
And Ezra Miller.
Oh, wow. Glad they didn't go with that
Me
direction.
too.
Yeah.
That would have been 2 Ezra Miller movies that bombed last year.
Yeah. Glad they did not.
Although this one cost considerably less money to make than The Flash, so maybe it would have done okay.
Maybe. Who knows?
Chalamet was the best choice in all of those. Well, maybe Donald Glover could have been as good. No, he definitely would have been as good.
Yeah, I think that would have been... It would have been, I think, a little different, but I think with Donald Glover, you might have got a more comedic performance.
Yeah, I think so. And... yeah, of course, there would have been the controversy around the internet about, like, oh, there's a black guy playing Willy Wonka, or maybe not. I don't know.
Donald Glover's pretty well liked.
Yeah, he is. Although there was that quote-unquote stink some people made about Donald Glover possibly being cast in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. This is before Andrew Garfield was cast to play Peter Parker. And, you know, it's the same thing that happens whenever there's a person of color being possibly floated to play a white character in the past. So you got some people who are like, yeah, we want this guy to play him and no one else. And then you have the other guys who are saying, to quote Donald Glover himself, he's black, kill him.
Yeah. Especially with like a comic book character that's so, you know, well known.
I remember
people go crazy.
I remember when Donald Glover was a rumor to play the role, and my only thought was, oh, cool, that'd be fun.
I probably did not care.
Yeah, and then you have the people who just, it doesn't really matter to them either way. Like black guy, white guy, it doesn't matter. Just make the movie good.
Yeah. I was very young when that movie came out, I assume. So I didn't give a hoot.
Settle down.
I know I need to watch myself. But yes, Timothée Chalamet did a good job.
Yes, he did. I feel like Ryan Gosling would have been a bit old for the role, honestly.
I think so.
He's in his 40s.
I like the guy a lot.
Me too.
Yeah. But I do think we needed somebody younger.
Now, if they were doing just another adaptation of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Willy Wonka in the same time period as the Gene Wilder or the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka, that works a lot better.
Sure, yeah, another adult, or, well, Timothée Chalamet's adult, but, you know, an older adult, you know what I mean?
Timothée Chalamet's like my age.
Yeah, he looks a little younger.
He looks like he's 15.
Yeah, he does.
But yeah, for the purposes of this prequel, Timothée Chalamet did an incredible job. He was actually nominated for a Golden Globe for this role.
It was very nice performance, very wholesome. Like I said several times, wholesome.
Yeah. I don't think this movie necessarily needs a sequel unless they're going to jump 20 years or so to do another adaptation of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, unless, of course, this is supposed to be a prequel for the original Gene Wilder movie. Which, okay, fine, sure, whatever. But I don't think this really needs a sequel. It did do well financially and critically, so the Suits could say, "Oh, let's do another one." But I don't think it needs it.
Yeah, I'm with you. It definitely does not need it. This was a good standalone movie. Just kind of some background on Willy Wonka.
Just leave it alone.
Yep, it's nice. Just leave it.
You got some goodwill, Warner Brothers. People are still going to be upset at you for canning the Batgirl movie and not letting anyone see it. Same thing with that Coyote versus Acme movie. But Actually, no, this probably doesn't make up for any of that, honestly, for canceling both of those. No, it doesn't at all.
No.
Douchebags.
Whoa, now you gotta take it down a notch. This is a family channel.
Look, it's stupid that they did that. I'm going to stay upset about this for a while now.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry this happened to you.
Anyways, so do you have anything more to say on Wonka?
I don't think so. I do think if you were like me and you were like, man, why even make a prequel to Willy Wonka?
Why do?
Yeah, then I think you should watch it.
Yeah. Well, both of us were pretty skeptical of this movie, but ultimately it turned out that it was a good idea.
Yeah. So just watch it.
Do it.
You'll feel better. It makes you feel nice.
Do it now.
Yeah. So just watch it, man.
So that'll do it for us. What do we have in the can for our next couple videos? Do you know?
You told me a lot of things.
Yeah, okay. Well, we have a few things planned. We have our South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut and SpongeBob SquarePants video, which I was at work yesterday and I realized that SpongeBob is also celebrating its 25th anniversary since the show started in 99, same year as the South Park movie.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
And then after that, for the 4th of July, we are going to be looking at the Captain America movies.
Yeah, we'll see if we'll see what happens.
So we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time.